Hey, everybody, welcome to the Soccer Sharps, a soccer betting podcast. And we've got a 6-pointer in the EPL title race. Everything to play for Manchester City against Arsenal. But we're also covering the Merseyside Derby. We're dipping in to the Bundesliga as well as the Copa del Rey final. So stick around, baby. Here we go.
Martial, Herrera, Ibrahimovic! Oh my God, an insane goal! I've just seen the most insane goal I have ever seen on a football pitch. Balotelli, Aguero!
Well, George, we're coming off of a Champions League week. We are recording this on Wednesday night. We just got done earlier this afternoon watching Bayern against Real Madrid in a classic, and Arsenal and Sporting in something. They played. They played a match, from what I understand. But how you doing on this Wednesday, George?
I'm doing quite well, Dev. Quite well. It was a very fun Champs League midweek. Made some money, won some bets. Looking to roll it over into the weekend domestics, huh? Let's do it.
Domestics. Yeah, we might as well jump in, George. Let's get started because this game is the big one on the weekend, George. It's Manchester City hosting the Arsenal. This one sees Man City as home favorites of a half goal, and the total is set at 2.5. And we didn't think we were going to have a title race, George, but here it is. And this one, 6-pointer, because if City win this, then win their game in hand, it's tied. It's all tied up. So, boy, can Arsenal find some form? Can they go to the Etihad? Even a draw would suit them very well here. They managed to get past Sporting. It was unconvincing. They lost before on the weekend. City, no midweek game, so they'll have a rest advantage here. What do you think about this one, George, with everything to play for?
Yeah, Dev. Lots of hype around this match. Everybody's talking about it. Huge deal. Indeed, if City win, like you said, if they win this and they win the game in the hand, they're tied. So, a little less dramatic. It would still be in Arsenal's hands to some extent. But, it's not going to be great because the way these teams are playing right now, they look like they're headed in opposite directions. And could it come down to goal difference? That could be a problem too for Arsenal because they're not scoring goals right now, and they're not really keeping the clean sheets that they were keeping earlier in the season that got them into this position. All that said, Dev, something tells me that this isn't really going to be a spectacle. That this is probably going to be a drab, boring affair. These teams are going to cancel each other out. Much has been made of how City sort of cracked the Arsenal code in the EFL Cup final, sitting off of them, not pressing them, basically forcing them to come up with new ideas. They couldn't do it. City could have took care of business in that, won it 2-0. Does Arteta adapt to that? Maybe City doesn't even do the same thing in this one. Maybe they have a different recipe here now that they're at home and not on a neutral. A lot of question marks around it, Dev, but that's why I'm going to look to history to be our guide with this one. And when we have these tight matches at the top, it's almost like a cup final. And I think Arsenal's mindset for this has to be just don't lose this. Like, as long as they get a draw from this, I think that will be enough psychologically for them to go on and win the title. If they lose this match, I think it really could be done because I just think at that point they'll just go, oh my God, we are going to lose this. Obviously, hard to guess at people's psyches, but that just is kind of my inkling with this. So I think that'll be the approach from Arsenal. Just don't lose, keep this 0-0, and you've got a chance to maybe nick something. I really don't know how City will approach it. I don't imagine it's going to be too gung-ho. And even if it is, I think they're going to feel some pressure as well. I think it could take a while for them to break down Arsenal. So for me, Dev, I've double dipped in this one, which might be a little surprising based on the way I talked about the match. I'm going first half under 1 on the Asian total. That's coming in at even money. Nice price there. If there is a goal, in the first half, I push out. I'm kind of hoping for that 0-0. Well, obviously, I'm hoping for the 0-0 at halftime. And then I'm going to go one further here, Dev, and take the draw at full time. I think this does end in a draw, maybe a 0-0. But at plus 280, just given the type of game it is and the way I think the teams are going to approach it, every chance this ends in a draw. And at that price, I think it's worth a shot. So I got it at plus 280. Our card says plus 275. Obviously, I would play it there too. So 2 plays for me. First half under 1, even money, and draw full time, plus 280.
The outright draw. That's a new one, George. We don't bet that very often.
Not very often.
I think you're right about how Arsenal will approach this. To say, like, just don't lose it. Make sure you get at least a point out of this, because I think that's the only way they have left to play. They can't score goals. They're so unconvincing going forward, and maybe there's a chance that Odegaard and Saka might be back for this one. That would help tremendously because they just can't create chances. In the EFL Cup final against Man City, they created less than 1 XG. City obviously winning 2-0. Now, the guy who scored both those goals, Nico O'Reilly, he's going to be out for Man City. So at least Arsenal don't have to worry about him. I think you're right, though, that there's just so much on the line. This is basically a title decider. If either team wins this, they're in fantastic position. I mean, City still have the game in hand, and then they have to, outpace Arsenal through the end. But you mentioned the goal differential, and also the momentum's just all on City's side. They just look like the better team. They're going in different directions. You said it. City clicking. All the new signings finally coming together for Pep, and Arsenal wheels falling off at the wrong time. And yes, they have a lot of injuries, so it's not going to be easy for them. Plus, they're going to be looking at the Champions League. They made the semifinals, so they've got that competition to look forward as well. Of course, City are also in the FA Cup, so they have that competition. But yeah, I mean, Arsenal, if they lose this, it's going to be pretty doom and gloom over there. That's going to be bad news, and I think they probably end up losing the title. So you're right. They cannot afford to lose. So I'm just going to go with the straight up under on the game. You went for the first half under. I'm just going to go under 2.5, minus 108. Fine with that price there. If you play it on the Asian handicap, it's a little better, minus 103. Another thing I looked at here is both teams to score no. Now, that's going to be a horrible sweat. You're going to be sweating the whole game, but it's minus 106. City have kept 3 clean sheets in their past 3 games against Arsenal, against Liverpool, and against Chelsea. 3 of the top 6 teams in the EPL, clean sheets against all of them. They won all those games as well. And Arsenal having trouble still scoring goals. So I think that could come through, and it could be either team, right? You could go with the Arsenal team total under, but it's pretty much unplayable at the 1.5, and you'd have to play for them to have to be blanked in order to get value on that bet. So that's just something I looked at, but I ended up just going with the under for the game, Jordan. Under 2.5, minus 108.
I think that makes sense, Dev. Rooting for a 1-1 full time.
Yeah, that'll be our middle to cash all the bets.
Yes, that's right. Or maybe a 0-0. Give us 0-0.
Hey, that works too. That works too. Be boring for us, but anyway. Well, let's move on, Jordan, because there are more fascinating matches in the EPL, including the Merseyside Derby. This is the name of the Liverpool derby, and it's Everton hosting Liverpool. And this one sees Everton as home dogs of 1/4 of a goal, and the total is set at 2.5. George, this is Liverpool's first travel to the new stadium for Everton, the Hill Dickinson, the Hill Dicky, if you will. Their brand new stadium looks very luxurious there, very large. Although Everton have struggled a bit at home, adapting to the new place. And now they welcome their crosstown rivals. So what do you think about this matchup, Jordan?
Well, Dev, another fascinating match here, right? Liverpool currently occupy that 5th spot for Champions League in the Premier League table. And they're only 5 points ahead of Everton, who are in 8th. So in between them, of course, you have Chelsea and Brentford. All of these teams with a shot at getting Champions League. Liverpool now crashing out of the Champions League. This is what they have to turn to. Obviously, they're not going to make any title push, so this is it. Get Champions League. And you mentioned Everton's struggles at home this season. I wanted to be with Everton coming into this, but given those struggles and just given tradition, I feel like getting a quarter of a goal is not quite enough. I'd want the full double chance coming in about minus 150, so you can mess around with that, tack something on. But I elected to go a different way. Yeah. And I like that also at minus 150, the both teams to score, yes, because despite Everton's struggles, I think they are good for a goal here. They have been pretty reliably finding the net. And I do expect Liverpool to score because they just have too much talent. I know they lost Ekitike. He's now out for like 8 months, I believe. So that is a major blow, but I still think they have enough firepower. Probably going to start Gakpo in this one, who looked incredible in the midweek. Probably the best game he's played in a Liverpool shirt this season, certainly. So, yeah, both teams to score, yes, but, I want it to be a better price, so I'm going to tack something on here, Dev. I'm going to tack on under 5.5. Don't think that this match gets to 6 goals. And both teams to score, and under 5.5 is coming in at minus 120. And I think that's more than fair enough.
Yeah, Jordan, I'm just going to go with the regular under here, the under 2.5 plus money, plus 103. 6 of the last 8 head-to-head meetings we've seen under 2.5 goals between these two. It's a derby. It's going to be tight. Could be violent. If you can bet cards in this one, always a good way to look. Still missing Allison. Still missing Ekitike. Oh, Ekitike may be done for the year, actually, it looks like, because he's got an Achilles injury. It's too bad. He's going to miss the World Cup. But Allison in goal, out for this one. Marmadashvili again. It couldn't be a different kind of matchup than they had against Paris for Liverpool, right? Because Everton, happy to give you the ball, sit back, counter. Paris, man, they were good. They were so good in that game at Anfield. I was very, very impressed. Not surprising. I mean, they're the current title holders for the Champions League. But Liverpool created some chances. I was impressed by how they were able to at least create stuff, and PSG just suddenly was one of the best defensive teams I've seen in the Champions League all of a sudden, and kept them out. But they did create some on the road here. Makes it tougher, and I've just not been convinced by Liverpool. Now they're out of the Champions League. They can really only push to get Champions League next season out of all the other competitions. So no silverware this season for Slot. And does that lose the locker room in some way? That's what I'd be worried about here if I'm a Liverpool fan. I guess you got to get up for your crosstown rival, right? I mean, it's the Reds versus the Blues. But yeah, again, I expect it to be tight, a little bit nervy. So I'm just going to go with that under, Jordan, under 2.5 plus 103.
All right. Once again, we are rooting for a 1-1.
Or 0-0.
Nah, I need both teams to score.
Oh, right. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, well, let's move on, Jordan. We've got one more EPL match for you, and it's Chelsea hosting Manchester United. This one sees Chelsea as home favorites of a quarter of a goal, and the total set at a flat 3. Both teams to score, yes, minus 225. So the bookies think this one starts at 1-1. And when you look at the table, Jordan, these two teams right in the thick of it for Champions League places next season. Manchester United in 3rd on 55 points. Chelsea in 6th on 48 points. They only have to get up into 5th in order to make Champions League for next season. So what do you think about this matchup, Jordan? Really just positioning themselves for next season.
Yeah, Dev, I would consider this must-win territory for Chelsea. Just the wheels are coming off. They are not, I mean, they've got plenty of teams behind them chasing for that spot here. They need to pick up 3 points somewhere. And I think they got to have this circled. Harry Maguire picked up an extra day or extra match ban on his suspension for his red card. So he will miss this one. Of course, Lisandro Martinez sent off against Leeds for United. So makeshift backline here. Not makeshift, but, not the ideal backline. I guess you'll have Euro and Aiden Heaven, maybe.
Delict? Where the hell has Delict been?
He's still hurt.
Yeah, but he's been injured like the whole season, and they said it was just a back tweak. It's crazy he's been out so long. Anyway.
Delict my back. Uh, he's yeah. We'll see what Carrick rolls out there. So I think we see goals in this one, Dev, because Man U were kind of in a luxury position in the table, like very unlikely that they're going to crash out of Champions League. So, yeah, I think they can just kind of play with freedom, try and finish as high as they can in the table, and that is third, by the way. That is as high as they can finish, I believe. And just try to keep the vibes high going into next season and right the wrongs of the Amorim era. Chelsea, though, this is like kind of do or die time, I think. I realize not mathematically, but just for the vibes, just for what's going on, they need to win here. They're at home. They need a performance at Stamford Bridge. They'll have Enzo back for this one. Is that a difference maker? I don't know, but I'm not going to pick a side in this one here, Dev. I'm going to focus on the goals. I guess in a way I am picking a side because it's a price thing for me. I think this game goes over. I do think both teams score just like the market does, minus 225 for both teams to find the net. But when I look at the prices here, I'm surprised to see a Man United's team total over 1.5 at plus 110. That has since moved, or at least I found it at a better price at plus 120. That's too big. There's nothing wrong with the Man U attack. They're missing some center backs, but I don't care. Chelsea can score 4 here. I just need 2 from United. That's what I'm going to play at plus 120. That's too big. Chelsea have been absolutely shocking at the back, Dev. They're conceding left and right, and I think that continues here. So maybe Chelsea do win it by outscoring United, but I think United can get 2. So that's what I'm taking. Team total over 1.5, plus 120.
Yeah, I'm sort of in line with you here, Jordan. I'm going to go with that over 3 on the Asian total. Minus 114. We've seen at least 3 goals in 8 of the last 9 Chelsea matches, and 5 straight, including both teams to score in 5 straight for Manchester United. When these teams have met, we've seen both teams scoring in 8 of the last 9 meetings, and we talk about it weekly on this show. What does Chelsea do well? Attack. They can go forward. They can create chances, score goals. They are so suspect at the back. They're suspect in the coaching arena. And Manchester United also banged up at the back. This sets up for some goals. And I think it probably comes from both ends. So I feel pretty good pushing out, getting my money back. If it only gets to 3, I'm okay with that because I think there's every chance this could be like a 2-2, 3-2, and see some fireworks here at the end of the season.
I certainly hope so, Dev.
Well, we got Major Gains in the chat. He's talking here about the Merseyside derby. He says the draw looks good there or unders. So he's in line with us too. Major
1-1.
Gains.
We're rooting for that 1-1.
Rooting for the 1-1. But Jordan, that's going to do it for our EPL matches, but stay tuned for the Copa del Rey final. We look at this Copa del Rey final, Jordan. It is Atletico Madrid hosting Real Sociedad. This one sees Atleti as favorites here of a half a goal, and the total set at 2.5. Now, Jordan, this one played on a neutral, of course. It is the cup final for Spain. We just saw Atletico lose to Barcelona in the midweek, but advance on aggregate, only losing by 1. Sociedad did not feature in this midweek. So, Jordan, what do you think about these two? They're matching up on Saturday to take home some hardware.
To take home some hardware, indeed, Dev, in the little city of Sevilla. Playing at the, what's it called? The Estadio de la Cartunja, something like that. It's like a state-of-the-art stadium that used to be sort of set for Olympics and things like that, but then they removed the track and field portion of it, so now it's a proper football stadium, but neither Betis nor Sevilla have moved into it. It's just kind of sitting there for like Bruce Springsteen concerts and Spain games. And the Copa del Rey final. I believe they now have an exclusive contract. So that's kind of fun. But look, Dev, whether this were played home, away, or on a neutral, I like goals here, which I know can be a little scary in a final. I appreciate that. But the Copa del Rey final, not necessarily like other finals that we see. For instance, 6 of the last 10 Copa del Rey finals have gone over 2.5 goals. 4 of those 6 have gone over 3.5 goals. So it's a goal-friendly final for the most part, certainly in the modern times. And outside of that, just the way these teams play right now, hard not to just take the over 2.5 here. It's lined low enough that I feel comfortable taking a stab there. There were a lot of things I looked at for this. Both teams to score and over, nice plus money there. Just both teams to score, yes. But I elected to go with the over 2.5 because on their day, either of these teams, more likely Atletico, can score 3 on their own. And, since Sociedad, excuse me, have been taken over by Materazzi, I believe his name is Materazzo. They're having really entertaining matches. We're seeing goals everywhere. And we know what Atleti have done. They're just coming off the midweek of finally getting past Barcelona, who they also, by the way, had to get past to get here to this final. So they're probably glad to see the back of Barcelona and play anyone else right now. But this is not exactly a team that you want to go against with silverware on the line because they have a problem right now. La Real. But I'm not going to mess with the side, as I said. Just give me goals here. Over 2.5. Fair enough. I know it's a final, but I think it'll be a fun one. -103. Love it.
Yeah, Jordan, I elected to stay off of this. I if anything, I would probably just take Atleti in full time. I just think they're the better team. They're in great form right now. Simeone was asked after the Barcelona game. He was like, you've made the semifinals. It's only the second time the club's ever made it. Do you feel like this is something special happening? And he said, I do. I think this is, I feel it. It feels special. And it could be really special if they win this trophy. They head into that Champions League where, look, Arsenal, the way they're playing, they've got every chance to make a final for that competition. So you could get a couple of trophies for Atleti, something they haven't done in quite some time. So winning this Copa del Rey, I think, would be huge for them. Remember, folks, if you are betting this match, the numbers we have on the screen, this is all for the 90 minutes. If it goes extra time, it doesn't matter. That's the end of your bet unless you play to lift the trophy or to win the tournament sort of line there. Other than that, you're only betting the 90 minutes. Something to keep in mind. Sometimes as Americans, we'll bet like, I remember getting burned on Asian handicap early on because I was like, over 2.5 goals for this final. It's 1-1, goes in extra time. They score a extra time goal, and I'm like, there's my cash. But nope, it's only 90 minutes.
It's like, where's the overtime, like in the NFL?
Yeah, I thought it'd be the overtime. Our bets count. But no, 90 minutes. So that's where I'd be, George, just on Atleti to win. But, yeah.
Yeah, well, Gaines is back saying Atleti to lift the trophy, and BTTS is at 2.50, which I believe is plus 150.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of crazy. Yeah, I mean, every chance. I do think both teams find the net here, and Atleti do have the better players, so I could certainly see them winning it.
Scary to bet an Atleti over, though, especially in a final. Simeone, he's looking at a low block like the Green Goblin mask. It's just talking to him.
The problem is they're no good at it anymore, though. They can't really play that way.
Yeah. Although we're going to see against Arsenal, that's going to be awful.
Yeah.
George, let's move on. We're covering some other leagues. We've got the Bundesliga over in Germany.
Oh.
Yeah, we're taking a look here at Frankfurt hosting RB Leipzig. This one is the marquee matchup on Saturday over in the Bundesliga, the one we always like to bet. Yeah.
I'm going to have to stop you there. I'm going to need an Eintracht Frankfurt versus RB Leipzig.
Oh, okay. That's my fault. So, yeah, this one is taking place in Eintracht Frankfurt. And they're hosting Rasenballsport Leipzig.
There it is.
That's what the RB stands for, not Red Bulls. Rasenballsport. George, just looking at this one here, we see Frankfurt as home dogs here of a half a goal, and the total set at 3.25. Frankfurt turning their season around a little bit, but Leipzig fighting to stay in top 4. They're in there right now. They have Leverkusen right on their heels, though. They got to keep winning, and it starts with Frankfurt. But, George, what do you think about this matchup?
Well, Dev, a couple weeks back when Leipzig traveled to Werder Bremen, they were the same price on the money line here, -106. And I was talking about Leipzig. You got to put a run together if you want Champions League. These are the kind of games you need to win. And while Frankfurt are a little bit more robust, I think you would say, than Werder Bremen, they're not in great form right now. So Leipzig, you want to keep pace. You want to lock up Champions League. Again, these are games you need to be winning. You're at the same price here. You should be able to get it done. That's where I'd look, Dev, but I elected to stay off it because the lines looked, pretty much fair enough. I would lean Leipzig, though, obviously.
Well, that's where I'm going, Jordan. I'm going with the Leipzig on the money line here. They just have something to play for more than Frankfurt do, though Frankfurt are currently in 7th. So, but they're 9 points behind the 6th place team there. So maybe they can get Conference League if they hold on. They've had a lot of trouble this season. This is their second coach. And they just aren't that convincing. They have a fantastic home support, and they're getting half a goal here. That is very intriguing, but you just look at the quality that Leipzig have and how they've benefited from not having to play in additional competitions this season. So, if as long as you got Antonio Nusa, Jan Diomande bombing down those wings, they can be really scary going forward. Another way to look at this would be goals. We have seen over 2.5 and 5 straight meetings between these two, but you got that little hook. You got the baby hook on the total here, Jordan. Baby 3.25.
Baby hook.
Be hook. I'm staying away from the total because of that little baby hook. So I am going to just go with Leipzig on the money line, Jordan. It's minus 106.
Love it, Dev. Love it. That's what I would be doing too. So.
Well, we got one more matchup for you, and it's over in Italy. We're in Serie A. We're taking a look here at Roma hosting Atalanta. This one sees Roma as quarter goal favorites at home, and the total is set at 2.5. So, Jordan, what do you think about this matchup? I elected to stay off of it. Serie A has not been great for me this season, and both of these teams, just a little Jekyll and Hyde for me, but what do you see in here?
Yeah, you're wiser than I am, Dev. That is for sure. You are wise to stay away from this because I tell you, I can't make heads or tails of these teams. It's so aggravating. Roma, not long ago, I took Roma against Juventus, right? I had both teams to score in under 5.5. It ends 3-3. What Serie A match ends 3-3? It's just so aggravating. Then, of course, the following week, they get back to their 1-0s. It's so annoying. Atalanta, more recently, last weekend, hosting Juventus. I took Atalanta minus plus a quarter of a goal, excuse me. And they completely dominated the match. Plus 1.61 XG to Juventus's 0.60, I believe. 22 shots to 7. Yeah, they lost 1-0. Really irritating. So we come to this game here, and yes, you read that right, people. Roma actually playing on a Saturday, not a Sunday match. Astonishing stuff. I think Atalanta are currently, based on form, the better team right now. But Roma at home are a problem. Make no mistake. They are scoring goals. But I don't think they're good enough defensively, despite being a good defense in Serie A, and make no bones about it. I don't think they're good enough defensively to keep Atalanta out. Juventus were completely blessed to get out of Bergamo last weekend without conceding a goal. Atalanta were all over them. If they turn in a performance like that again here, they will score. Roma will score at home. So both teams to score, yes. Minus 134. It's a little bit juicy, but I just didn't want to do a tack on this because if I do tack on over 2.5, it'll end 1-1. And if I tack on under 5.5, we'll have 7 goals. So just going to go both teams to score, yes, minus 134.
Yeah, that's playable. It's playable, Jordan. It's not... Yeah, look, you can't curse yourself with the Serie A. If you do the parlay, it's something's going wrong. I will say Atalanta have won 4 straight head-to-head meetings against Roma, including a 1-0 at Bergamo earlier this season. But again, I'm staying off it, Jordan. I wish you luck. Let's get at least a 1-1 here. Maybe some more. Maybe some more goals. Have some fun.
also the why can't I think of his name now? Coach of Roma, Gasparini, his old team, the Gasparini Derby here, taking on Atalanta, the team he built.
Right. That's right, yeah. Atleti's got a little Atalanta thing going on. They got a few guys. Lookman, Ruggieri.
Sure.
Somebody else. But anyway, Jordan, that's going to do it for us. Look, that's all the games we're covering, guys. There's some big ones, there's some fun ones, and we're going to see how it all shakes out for us, Jordan. But before we get out of here, there's something we got to do.
We do indeed, Dev, because it's one thing to talk about these matches, and it's quite another to put our money where our mouths are and pay the bookie.
Chuck, I'm going to tell you something. You have that fucking 200 in my hands tomorrow. If you ain't got the 200 in my fucking hands tomorrow, I'll break every fucking bone in your body.
I'm going to throw up the official plays on the screen. We do have a comment we got to get in just before the official plays. Andrew says, Forza Roma.
Forza.
Right.
As long as they concede, yeah, Forza Roma. Just concede.
Yeah. Rooting for the Capitals there. But Jordan, let's throw up these official plays for you guys on the screen. We'll read them out for the podcast listeners. And I've got Man City and Arsenal, the 6-pointer under 2.5 goals at -103. Chelsea, Manchester United, over 3 goals at -114. Everton, Liverpool, under 2.5, +103. And finally, Rasenballsport, Leipzig on the money line at -106. What do you got, Jordan?
Dev, I'm double dipping in Man City Arsenal. What could go wrong? Taking first half under 1, the Asian total at +103. And for full time, I'm taking a draw. I just want that. I don't often bet the draw, but it feels like it is written. I see it. +280.
Sometimes you got to trust the gut. The gut.
That's right. Man United, team total over 1.5 at +120. Love that price. Everton, Liverpool, both teams to score and under 5.5 at -120. Dev and I rooting for the 1-1 there. Roma, Atalanta, as we just discussed, both teams to score, yes, -134. And in the Copa del Rey final, over 2.5 goals at -103.
Right on, Jordan. That's going to do it for us. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for hopping in the chat. Those who are watching us live, we do appreciate that. And Jord, we got a bunch of new subscribers this week, so welcome. If you guys are new to the show, we do appreciate you. If you could leave a like, a follow, subscribe to the channel, helps us out a lot, costs you nothing. So we do appreciate your time. And Jord, any last words for the people?
Yeah, we do appreciate each and every one of you, indeed. And if you're here as a betting fan, you already know. Be responsible, bet responsibly, manage that bankroll. It's a World Cup year, for crying out loud. We got a lot of soccer still to come. So, be responsible, have some fun with it, and let's make some money.
Let's make some money.
Martial.